It is an absolute corking Wednesday afternoon out here in Coburg. We're at APAX Studios. We're here to visit Anis and Vivian from Loading Error to have a little chat and explore their studio space. Let's go have a look, eh? Back in 2017, when just before Loading Error started to kick off, like Melbourne was already sort of becoming a pretty competitive scene in terms of like running techno parties and electronic music parties. So what made you want to jump into that, and what was it that you think you could sort of bring that was different?
Honestly, when I first started, I didn't even really think about competition. Like, I just wanted to do it because it was fun. I've been running parties since I was in high school, and back then it was just like illegal park parties, running psytrance gigs and a bunch of shit, and then eventually started moving towards club nights and stuff. But like, we were pretty clueless. Well, I was pretty clueless. I didn't really know what was going on. I didn't know who was who, what was what. But it wasn't really until I went to Europe for my gap year, and then I came back after that, and then I had this whole new idea of what I wanted to do. And that's where Loading Error kind of started. And it moved into a lot more harder, breakier, faster type of shit.
I remember the first party was like, it was really locked down, and like for your first gig, like every bit of the production was really nice. You had like all the AV stuff going on as well up at Boney. So like that my first impression was like, these guys know exactly what they're doing because it just fit so well. It was good. It was a good party.
It's funny actually, because the first party, Anis wasn't even part of it at this stage, and the other couple friends that are running it with us now, they weren't even part of it. And my mum drove me down to the gig, and I was shit scared. Like I didn't know what to expect. I mean, like, I knew what was happening, but I'd never done a gig at Boney before. I just brought like these 2 TVs which I found in hard rubbish on the side of the road, and then and a bunch of like LED tubes which I borrowed from work, and kind of like just got it all running together. But yeah, it was a pretty funny night. I actually remember that pretty well. My mum driving me to the club at like 10 p.m. and she's like, alright, you have fun, like, be careful. I'm just like... What made you like want to put such a heavy emphasis on the AV side of things? Well, I work as an audiovisual technician. That was something I got into straight after high school. I didn't want to go to uni, but I wanted to work in an industry which I cared about and I was passionate about. So the obvious one for me was just working in audiovisual production. So I just do a lot of lighting, sound, vision, staging, all sorts of stuff. And then that's where I kind of learned all the technical skills, I guess. Another important thing that I kind of learned over the years is that a lot of people and a lot of promoters put a lot of emphasis on being good DJs and just promoting good DJs, which is important. But for me, because I never became a DJ and because I never did that,
Why not? Come on, man, you live in Melbourne. Every second person DJs. He DJs.
I've tried and I've given up, and now I just don't really care anymore. So I've just moved on from that.
That's good, because I've tried to like run parties with friends before who are like DJs and things, and it gets really convoluted because at the end of the day, everyone wants to make it their own thing.
Everyone wants the headline slot, huh?
Fuck yeah.
But that's fair enough.
Yeah, and so like it was really good meeting Viv because I could sort of take control of the music bookings. And yeah,
Are you a DJ?
I not look like a DJ.
She's a DJ, yeah.
How was it that you sort of like met Viv and got involved in the first place?
Good story, actually. We were talking about this before. So I ran my first party. It went pretty well. I was like a little bit nervous, whatnot. ran a couple other things. And then Yanni Sarantis, good man, rest in peace. Our man.
The king.
He actually hit me up and was like, do you want to do a collab with me? And I was like pretty stoked at the time. This is my second or third party. And he was this guy who was pretty established, playing all the time, ran a lot of gigs, whatnot. And it was just like, do you want to run this party with me? And I was just like, fucking of course I do. And then he took us out. He took not only me and whatever, took every DJ out. Well, not every, you went there.
From the gig, he booked me and Fred when we were playing as Concealed. And also Yanni, he taught me how to DJ back in the day. Like when I posted my first mix on SoundCloud, he just messaged me and he was like, man, your track selection's really good. Like come to New Guernica before I open Power. And for a couple of weekends, I did that with him. And he just taught me how to mix techno properly. And so it's the connection of that to Viv, very sentimental thing.
We met after that gig pretty much, and then kept talking. And yeah, a couple months later, we're just like, we should get this going, because I was very production focused, coming from an audiovisual tech and background, and Anis being a DJ and studying event management. It was just a very natural fitting, because I struggled with a lot of the administrational bookings side of things, marketing, whatnot. And it was a bit much for me trying to balance it all at the same time. So Anis came in and just kind of took a whole bunch of that shit over.
Well, because I have no experience in AV production and all of that, which for me, that is what completes a party. And I guess in relation to your question before, what I love about doing it with Loading Errors, because not really many techno parties put emphasis into doing that at all. Maybe Pleasure Planet, Club Derange, and all the more out, it's all this sort of more out there sort of parties. But I just, going to a lot of the regular techno parties, no one really cares about that. They think if you just put a good lineup, that's just the experience, but it doesn't create the full experience of what a club space could be. So I guess that's why.
To be fair, that was the mentality that I stepped into with. I didn't really know and learn all this stuff just from the get-go. It just kind of took some time to evolve into it and to understand really what makes it
even
different.
With music bookings and stuff,
Music bookings, yeah.
It's trying not to book just every DJ being the same sort of music, having a progression throughout the sets in the night, which I think really works for us. I go to a party and I get bored when it's a big techno headliner, but then everyone else on the lineup is playing the same music, so it doesn't make the headliner's music special, you know what I mean? So yeah, I guess that's sort of how we try and shape our parties.
Yeah, we work pretty well like that.
Yeah, it's good.
It's all the little details that matter, and at the end of the day, it all adds up.
Yeah, the different backgrounds for that.
Yeah, trying to have Viv being from the north side and me living here and all our friends being from around the area. It's always trying to have that connection within the community, because at the end of the day, that's what people care about more.
Bomphcast!